What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly to provide for you guys as we look at the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, discuss the positives and the negatives of the week, the awards given, and what's to come for the Chicago Bulls in the upcoming week. And it's going to be a very short week in return as well because we are getting close to the All-Star break, which means the Bulls won't be playing. The Bulls will have some time off as we look at the All-Star weekend. We look at everybody celebrating the All-Stars and stuff of that nature. So it will be an interesting time to kind of get some rest, but also recuperate for the second half of the season, or just the end of the season, I guess you could say. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and the week that they have had, as well as the upcoming week that we're going to have as well. And by the way, let me know in the comments below, give me some suggestions on the buyout market options you'd like me to talk about. Because again, we're going to get to a point with this Chicago Bulls team where it's going to go very quiet. Once obviously the All-Star weekend happens and you get the week off and stuff of that nature, it's going to go quiet. And we know the Bulls are probably going to be invested in the buyout market. We know they're probably going to do something. We have the capability to do something. So let me know in the comments below, what buyout options do you feel we should be pursuing? Nonetheless, let's focus on the previous week. We ended up having 3 games in the previous week, and we went 2-1. So a positive record overall, but there's still a sour taste in my mouth because we could have went 3-0 this week. We could have really had an outstanding week, but we let it slip away. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not over the loss. I don't know why. I think it's because of the dumb shot that happened in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it was the most smartest shot we've ever taken. It was definitely not a smart shot. It was a low IQ shot, a low percentage shot by DeMar DeRozan. And I think that one shot really just switched my mindset and made me feel so negative about this Bulls team in an overall positive week. We had a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves first and foremost. And I don't want to, make this seem worse than what it is. Like, this is a big win for the Chicago Bulls. We won this game 129-123 in overtime. I mean, to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, I understand they're not in the best run of form at the moment, but they were still at the time first in the Western Conference. They are a very good team, a well-respected team, a team that I like watching. They bring great joy and entertainment to the NBA, and they did the same thing with the Chicago Bulls. But coming back from a big deficit because a team like that is only going to be a positive. Again, you want to verse the best teams in the East and the Western Conference. Minnesota had one injury that game, and I don't believe it was an injury to a player that plays a lot of minutes for them. They were a very healthy team, and you want to verse the best, and it makes it more satisfying when you get to beat the best, in my opinion, and that was what Minnesota was at that time. One of the best teams in the Western Conference. So that brought a great smile to my face. A comeback for the Chicago Bulls. One of the best, most important wins of our season. I can't complain with how the Bulls played there. We move over to the second game against Memphis. This game, not convincing at all. Like, honestly, not convincing at all. But we did end up winning this game as well. 118-110. Look, I'm not going to lie. When I looked at this game, again, just keep in mind the trade deadline just came to an end, so I didn't necessarily watch every single little minute detail about this game. I was definitely more focused on what people were thinking about the trade deadline and how bad it was for the Chicago Bulls, but it felt uninspiring. It felt lethargical. It wasn't a game that brought the most impressive side out of the Bulls. We got out-hustled and outworked for the vast majority of that game, but we had the veteran experience to pull through in the fourth quarter and deliver a great fourth quarter in the end to win the game. Now, again, this is the type of game where you look at in a month's time, and you're not going to remember how he played, but you're going to remember the win and how important it was for the Bulls. That's the type of game I'm going to put this down to, because this was definitely an uninspiring game. And then the last game against the Orlando Magic, another overtime performance. But again, this could have all been avoided. But 114-108 was the score in which we lost by. How could this have been how could this have been avoided? I would say we went too much into isolation and hero ball once again. We were trying to buy buckets with isolation and hero ball, and it didn't work. It's as simple as that. It didn't work. Some games it works, some games it doesn't work. Today, this game, it didn't work. And Overtime, Orlando took over. We took a dumb shot to try and, I guess, win the game. I don't know why we took a 3. I will never defend that shot. I will never defend that shot. I don't care who's taking it. Even if it was Stephen Curry, maybe there's a little bit of a bias there with Stephen Curry because the guy is a lights-out three-point shooter. But I would always question a guy when we need the 2 to tie, why would you not drive to the rim and try to create something from there? Even if you get fouled, or even if you take a bad mid-range shot, DeMar DeRozan is one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA today. I would back him in a tough competitive mid-range shot than I would chucking up a 3 from very far distance, and it was contested as well. So I wasn't a fan of that shot. And again, that left a sour taste in my mouth. It did. I was not impressed with that shot, and I was not impressed with what happened afterwards in overtime. And you have to give full credit to the Orlando Magic there, but that hurt the Chicago Bulls. Now again, even though I'm hurt, even though I feel a little bit negative today, in all honesty, we still have to talk about the awards. We had an overall positive week, and I don't want that to be ignored. So let's first start off with the must improve of the week. Now again, it's so hard to give the must improve because in every win and every loss, we are competitive and guys are stepping up to the plate. Again, in terms of a game-by-game competitive, like a game-by-game situation, we are competitive. We don't get blown out, and when we win games, it's very close as well. We are competitive with every team in the East and Western Conference. We just don't win every single game between the East and the Western Conferences. So must improve for me is a very hard one to give. I could go, again, we could give examples here. There are games where maybe, for example, a Julian Phillips didn't necessarily play that well, but then you look at the last game against Orlando, and did Andre Drummond play that well? Well, the answer would be no. And then who do you pick to must improve between those guys? So I feel like the must improve, if I took it back to 4 years ago when I started this channel, I would get rid of the must improve. Because I feel like that has to be for a special occasion. Because there are some games where players play well, and there are some games where players don't play well, and they're role players at the end of the day. You can't expect them to play well every single game. So I'm going to leave it out. I would still question the coaching staff. I would still question our tactics and our strategies in the fourth quarter. That's where I would leave my must improve for. But yeah, I'm going to leave it out today. My sixth man of the week is going to go to Andre Drummond. Now again, he had a bad game against Orlando, but that 21 and 13 point performance off of the bench is too hard for me to ignore. So in the 3-game situation, he is my sixth man of the week. When we come to the defensive player of the week, I want to give a sneaky shout out to DeMar DeRozan here. Again, there are stats suggesting that he's crawling into the top 10 in terms of steals in the NBA, I believe, or top 20. I can't remember what it was. But again, he plays the passing lanes better than anybody on this team. You can question his one-on-one defense all you like. That is clearly a big problem. But when it comes to playing the passing lanes, DeMar DeRozan knows how to do that. And I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. There are some games where he has 4 or 5 steals, and all of them is playing the passing lanes and getting out in transition because of that on the offensive end. He's a big part of our defensive scheme when it comes to steals. So you have to give credit to DeMar DeRozan on that point of view. But I'm still going to stick with Alex Caruso because he does the jack of all trades. He's the one that sticks close to everybody. He's the one that, can guard guys one-on-one. He gets the steals. He gets the blocks. He does a whole bunch of defensive things for the Chicago Bulls. I would still stick with Alex Caruso. And then my player of the week will go to DeMar. Again, that last shot, I know a lot of people have the recency bias, and trust me, I hate that shot with all my might. But he had a fantastic week this week. Again, his stats against the Orlando Magic weren't too shabby. He had a great game against Minnesota and a great game against Memphis. He carried us out of some of the situations that we needed to be carried out of as well. So I'll give it to DeMar DeRozan. Now let's look forward to the 2-game week the Chicago Bulls should be having upcoming. The first game will be against the Atlanta Hawks. And I believe this game, as I quickly try to find it, for whatever reason I cannot find it. Wow, this is crazy. I literally went all the way to 2 seasons ago. My phone is wild. It's away from home, either way. A tough game for the Chicago Bulls. Again, Atlanta is a direct rival. They are the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. We are the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. This game means a whole lot for the Chicago Bulls, and that will be away from home. And then we've got the next game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that in itself will be away from home as well. And that should be it. Then our next game after that will be in a week's time against the Boston Celtics. So, Big game against the Hawks, a must-win, I would say, and a big game against Cleveland where we're probably not the likelihood to win. I don't think I'll be doing a watch-along for any of those games because of, again, I'm going out on holiday very soon. But with that being said, thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.